So are you looking for luxurious living, great schools, beautiful homes, and a championship golf course? Well, that's what we have today. This is Forest Creek in Round Rock. This is one of the most established and most sought after master planned communities in Round Rock. This is a place where community pride runs very deep. The streets are lined with beautiful mature trees and amazing landscaping. It's just a great place to live. So let's go check it out. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that you'll be the first to know of new developments happening here in the greater Austin area. My name is Jeremy Critt and I'm a licensed real estate broker, and I help people just like you every day buy, sell, and invest in the greater Austin area. So if you're thinking about making the move, get in touch. Shoot me a text, give me a call, scan that QR code on my YouTube page, and we'll get in touch and I'll see how I can help you make your move a great success. So as I was recording the intro to this video, one of the neighbors nearby where I was recording, I thought he was heckling me, but actually he was so enthusiastic. He wanted to know what I was doing and he wanted me to interview him on the spot. So let's go hear a little bit about what he wanted to share with you guys.
And I'm Donovan Mays. You want to live in this neighborhood because it's the best of the best. Everybody takes care of one another, makes sure that everybody's happy, and watches out for one another's back as well as their property out here.
There you go. That's what I told you at the beginning of this video. Community pride runs very deep here in Forest Creek. So we're just walking the streets here in Forest Creek. We're in the Brent Brook section of Forest Creek. And I just want to give you just a feel for what this neighborhood is like. Just as if you were here walking the streets, maybe you're in some other state or city in Texas and you're thinking about moving here to this area and you're thinking about Forest Creek. You're thinking, man, what is it like to walk down these streets? Well, here it is. I mean, look at these homes. The homes in Forest Creek are, I would put them in the high-end category. These are fantastic homes. Pretty much every home here has full-sided masonry for the most part. These are very well-built homes. Great builders came into Austin, and you could just see that the streets here just have really excellent landscaping. In fact, in my opinion, Forest Creek as a neighborhood probably has some of the best landscaping in all of Round Rock, maybe even Williamson County. It really just is fantastic. I mean, just look at the pride of ownership in these houses. Look at this walkway. It's just, the walkway is flawless, clean, cement is perfect. This grass here is trimmed perfectly. Look at the landscaping, look at the trees, the bushes, the brush, just everything looks so nice. And look how huge these houses are. These houses are just magnificent. So I just want to point out a few things about the community as we're walking through. Now, these houses that we're looking at here, they actually back up to the golf course, and you can see it has beautiful iron rod fencing that allows you to go look into the green spaces. That's very nice, and that's what you really have here in Forest Creek. You have some houses that have that green belt or golf access, in terms of the view, and some are more interior. So these obviously would trade at a higher premium because of the view, and you can see this one here just from the street. This backs up to a pond, so this has even an extra special view. So there's some really gems in terms of lots within this community. This right here, this house in the cul-de-sac, is a very good example of some of the beautiful things in Forest Creek. You can see here, this looks like some of the native trees that have been preserved, and they're just well trimmed and they just look beautiful. I mean, look at these trees. These are just old trees that just give both of these houses such amazing character. So I'm in my car now, and what I want to do is I want to take us on a little bit of a house tour within the community. We're going to check out houses at a variety of price points. Obviously, it may be different when you see this video, but I think it'll give you a little bit of a sense of what we're looking at price-wise and what these houses look like. By the way, sometimes I wear my glasses in this video. We're in Texas. I want you to see my eyes. I want you to be able to see who I am and not have that barrier. But man, it's hot out here and it is very bright. So maybe let me know in the comments, is it okay if I wear my glasses in these videos? I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so now we're gonna start our little house tour portion of the video. And I just wanna give a little bit of a bird's eye view of what you can purchase here in Forest Creek. So we're going to start with some of the lower priced homes that are available currently in Forest Creek, and then we'll just go all the way up to amazing. So let's go check it out. So we're walking here in beautiful Forest Creek, and the first property that we're going to take a look at is listed actually for $305,000. It's in the Forest Creek condominium section of Forest Creek. And this is kind of interesting because usually I think when people think of Forest Creek, they're thinking of the houses that are in here, but there is a condominium community here, and you can get into it, at least right now, for the low 300. And you can see here that they're basically attached duplexes is basically what they are, but they're very nice. You can see they have full masonry with stucco and stonework throughout the exterior. And as we look at the listing here, you can see it's a lovely little condo here. This one is maybe not as updated as maybe it could be, but it's still absolutely move-in ready. And like I said, this area is actually right near the entrance of Forest Creek. And we're just going to keep walking around a little bit. And we can see the condos here to my side. But what I want to show you is I want to show you how some of these condos actually back up to a beautiful green space looking onto the golf course. And so these are the back side of the condos that actually back up to the golf course. So you could imagine these that back up to the golf course probably go for a little bit more of a premium than the ones on the other side. But this is a lovely option, especially if you're trying to get into Forest Creek at a lower price and maybe you're not so interested in having a front or backyard. So this is an option here in Forest Creek. Let's go ahead and move on, and we're going to go on to the houses now. Let's go check it out. So this is the first detached single-family residential house that we're going to be looking at here in Forest Creek. And this is a beautifully updated 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,070 square foot house. This is a beautiful home, very typical for this size and location in Forest Creek. As you look at the pictures, you can see they've done a great job here with the flooring, and they've updated several little pieces to the property. I see some new fixtures and some small updates in the kitchen and bathrooms, but this is a beautiful house. And again, one of the things I love about the architecture of properties here in Forest Creek is there's a lot of masonry. This one has very beautiful white stonework throughout, and it's 4-sided masonry. So this is very nice. That really just elevates the look of the property, and it has very nice curb appeal. You can see here it has a beautiful 2-car garage. It looks like the windows are updated on this house. This is a beautiful house, and here's just an example of the neighborhood. And this is just a very typical house here in the neighborhood here in Forest Creek. So I'm taking a walk over to our next property that we're going to look at, and I just found this really cool area of Forest Creek. I'm just going to flip it around so that you can see it. There's this beautiful pond here with this water feature, and they've got a little bench here where you can sit down, and there's like a little cement pad here. It looks like, let's actually walk over there. We're doing this in real time here. Yeah, so it has this little pad here, a little bench here where you can sit down and enjoy the water. There's lots of little places like this throughout the community, and there's just this massive house in front of me. I mean, that is just an amazing property in front of me, and there's this little gazebo, and actually that whole thing that we're looking at here in front of me, that's actually a backyard of one of these properties. So that's a really super nice house. That gazebo is complete masonry with, looks like it has some sort of ceramic shingles to it, so that's pretty amazing. And if you walk over here, we have the golf course, and there's a lot of people golfing. This is actually on a Thursday afternoon, so this is pretty typical. Look at this. Look at all the people just in their little golf carts golfing away. Really nice. If you're a golfer, you definitely want to check out Forest Creek. So now we're looking at a property that's in the mid $500,000 price point. This property here is actually listed currently for $559,900. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,582 square foot home. So it's a pretty good size. Very beautiful lot here. You can see the landscaping has been very well maintained in this house. And as we kind of look through the house in some of these pictures, you can see this is a lovely house with some updates throughout, not a whole lot, but pretty good shape, pretty good condition. Houses like this, you can move into, or you can do a little bit of remodeling so that it suits your taste. But this is what the mid $500,000 price point gets you. And as you look at the neighborhood, again, this is just a very typical neighborhood here in Forest Creek. And one of the things that I love about Forest Creek, in addition to a lot of the things we've talked about, but on these larger streets, you can see that this is, St. Andrews is a major street here in Forest Creek. But you can see it's a wide street, and just look at the lush landscaping. And you can just see, here's a homeowner here, he's doing his edging on his grass. I mean, there's so much pride of ownership in this neighborhood. It's really something else. It's something very special. I can tell you right now, this is not true in all neighborhoods in Round Rock and Greater Austin. There is a lot of pride of ownership, a lot of pride in their community here in Forest Creek. I don't know about you, but I've really been enjoying our time here in Forest Creek. And before we head to the next property, I want to share the community center with you. You know, I think Forest Creek really is great value for money. This is one of the things I've been thinking about as I've been filming this for you. You know, I've sold houses here in Forest Creek, and I remember where the prices were and looking at where they are now compared to what you can buy in and around Austin and the Round Rock area. And I just think Forest Creek is tremendous value for money. I really believe that. For the kind of community that you have here, you know, the ambiance and the well-maintained area that this community sits in, it's very hard to find something like this for these prices. Very good value. It's something that you really should consider if you're coming out here. The Forest Creek Community Center. And you can see here, just here in the background, there's some tennis courts, and we'll go ahead and check out some of the tennis courts. And unfortunately, right now, the pool is being resurfaced. So maybe we'll spare you that so that we can maintain the image here of the community. So a cool thing about this community center is that there's really ample parking here. I imagine in the summertime when it gets hot and people are really hitting the pool, this is very nice to have so you can just drive your car over, because this can be a little bit of a drive from some of the houses that are here in the neighborhood. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's statuary throughout Forest Creek. Here's another one. There's a similar statuary towards the entrance. I think that's kind of cute. And we're just kind of going in here, and there's a beautiful park area. You can see here, there's these trees. I cannot express to you enough the value of these trees. They're not only beautiful, but they do provide amazing shade if you were to enjoy this area, especially in the summertime. So here we have the tennis courts. We've got 2 tennis courts here. We've got some picnic tables, and we have a playground area. Look at how well maintained everything is. Just look at this. There's no trash anywhere. The grass is immaculate. Even this gravel area, there's no trash or things in there that makes it look bad. Look here, this is the surface here in this little play area is beautiful. We have a little rock climbing deal here. We've got some swings. We got a seesaw for the kiddos. I'm walking on this. Looks like this is kind of like some sort of little rubber surface. Okay, and then here we have the pool. They're currently resurfacing the pool. There's no water there at the moment, but it is a very large pool. I can see that'll be very nice once they have that fully restored. They're probably preparing it for the summertime. So that is the community area here. I was actually out here yesterday. The community was having like a little festival here. So that's one of the things about Forest Creek is that one thing I've noticed even while I've been filming here, the people are just super friendly. There's a really tight-knit sense of community here in Forest Creek. And I'm sure that I know Forest Creek people will see this, and I know they'll agree with me. Actually, if you live in Forest Creek, do me a favor. Leave a comment. How do you like living in Forest Creek? I know it's going to be a good comment, so I look forward to seeing it. All right, let's go on to the next house. So this property that we're heading towards now is actually in the close to the mid $600,000 price point. And this is a 4-bed, 4-bath, 3,776 square foot home. Okay, now we're going to take it up a notch. We're going into the upper $700,000 price point here in Forest Creek. And now we're finally going to look at a property that actually sits on the golf course. Now, one of the things you should keep in mind if you are going to buy a house on the golf course here in Forest Creek, and I have sold houses on the golf course in this community, is that there's always a chance golf balls will hit your house. A property that I sold in here a while back ago, it had a lot of dents in the siding due to the golf balls hitting the house. So that is always a possibility, and that's a risk you take when you live on the golf course in a place like Forest Creek. And that's true in any golf course community, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so here's the house. This is, again, $790,000. It sits right on the golf course here in Forest Creek. It's a 4-bed, 4-bath, 3,540 square foot house. So this is a pretty good size. And just so you can kind of take a look at the neighborhood here, you can see it just sits on this main road here, Bobby Jones Way. And this is a main road, but there's not a lot of traffic, so it's not too crazy. One of the things about the properties on this street is that they tend to have very big lots, and the front yards are just huge, as you can see with this house that's for sale. And you can see the golf course there in the back. So it has a very nice view of sloping hills and the golf course in the background and some water features. And this property, as we look inside the property, you can just see that it's just really, really well maintained. You can see it just has those really, really high ceilings. It has that amazing entryway, that beautiful spiral staircase. Look at that spiral staircase. That's just beautiful. These houses, typically in Forest Creek, they just really have very nice upgraded architectural features. And that's really a hallmark of houses that are higher quality. You can see this house has been very well maintained. The kitchen is not totally updated in this house. Some of the cabinetry is still a little bit of the original older style, but it looks like the countertops have been upgraded. Looks like granite there. Nice hard floors with tile and wood-looking planks there throughout the house. Overall, very, very nice house. This is the kind of house that, could use a little bit of updating if you wanted to refresh it. But look at that backyard. I mean, you have that huge pool in the back that looks out into the golf course. And if you think about it, for $790,000, that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good price for what you're getting, considering the view that you got there, the pool, this beautiful house. This is a solid house. Look at that masonry work. Look at that brickwork. Just a really solid looking house, solid landscaping. So again, one of the things I just keep thinking about as I go to Forest Creek, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be like, hey, look, you got to move to Forest Creek. There may be other places that are better suited for you, but the value that I'm seeing in Forest Creek these days is absolutely amazing. I would really consider it. The only thing is, this is in Round Rock, and this is an area of Round Rock that's a little bit kind of further out. So kind of depends on what your commute needs are, but this is just a great place to live. I'd live here. Okay, we're now heading to the last property that we're going to take a look at here in Forest Creek. But before we get to that, I just want to highlight something, and I've mentioned it throughout this video, but Forest Creek is an amazing community. And one of the things that makes it so cool is that it has topography. Unlike a lot of places that you might find in and around Austin, more humdrum kind of neighborhoods, Forest Creek has a lot of sloping hills as well as green spaces, and it has water. It has running water, and that's a big deal. You can see here, there's actually a stream that goes across the street here. And you can see it right here. The stream just goes right back. It goes through the golf course, and there's a little bridge here. Look at the sloping hills. Just look at the topography of the area. And it has these beautiful sidewalks where you can walk or ride your bike. So Forest Creek is a very nice neighborhood to actually enjoy where you're living. It's not just about the house in Forest Creek. It's about the community. It's about the amenities. It's about just the overall look of the neighborhood. This is an extremely walkable neighborhood, and it's very, very pleasant to just walk down the sidewalk. There's actually things to see. It's interesting. It's not boring. So now we're walking towards that last house that we're going to check out. And this is an area, a section of Forest Creek called the woods of Forest Creek. And these properties tend to be a little bit more on the upper end for Forest Creek. And we're just gonna check out this house. This house is kind of cool, kind of sits more on a hill. It's a little bit more elevated than the other houses, and it's on a corner lot. Let's go over there and take a look. So here's the last house that we're gonna kind of take a look at here in Forest Creek. And this is a beautiful house. This is currently listed for $950,000, so just under $1 million. And this is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 4,194 square foot house. So when you get into 4,000 square feet, this is just a massive house. This is a really big house. And if you look through these pictures, you can just see it's just a beautiful house, very high ceilings, relatively up to date. This could use a little work here and there, but you could move into this house and be really happy. And again, you know, one of the things I just really appreciate about Forest Creek property is that, again, it's a more higher end look, you know, especially with the exterior elevations. Just lots here of stonework, masonry, stucco. So that just really elevates the look of these properties. And again, just kind of take a look at the neighborhood. You can just see that it's just a really nice neighborhood. This one sits very close to the golf course. It's not on it, but you can see all the other houses in the neighborhood just look equally nice. Just huge amounts of curb appeal in this neighborhood. It's very hard to find a property that doesn't have great curb appeal in Forest Creek. Well, that wraps up our vlog tour of Forest Creek. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a better sense of what this neighborhood is like. By the way, don't forget, if this is your first time to the channel, press that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, so that you'll be the first to know of new developments happening here in Austin, Texas. I look forward to joining you in the next video, and see you there. Bye-bye.